Teenager Sava has just finished school. College admission is ahead, but instead of preparing for his exams, he prefers to spend his time carefree with friends. As punishment, his parents leave him at home while they go on a trip to Venice. His mother leaves him money for groceries and hires a tutor, hoping that her son will finally get serious and start studying for his exams. After seeing his parents off, Sava enjoys having the house to himself, but after a while, he finally sits down to look for a tutor. He chooses a middle-aged woman. Arriving at her address, he meets Anna Germanovna. The young man shares his plan. She wants to get into a Russian-French higher education program. The first part of the studies takes place in Russia, then continues in France. That's why he needs to improve his knowledge of foreign literature. During their conversation, the tutor realizes that Sava is completely unfamiliar with the authors he needs to study. In fact, he doesn't have much interest in literature at all. She hands him a book that he must read, and then write a short essay about. She insists that it's impossible to begin their lessons without first getting acquainted with works by foreign writers. Sava diligently reads the book she gave him. More than that, he even writes bold notes about it, which she praises, assuring him that he is not a hopeless case. At their next lesson, Sava brings Anna a horror movie DVD. During their first meeting, she had mentioned that she had a negative opinion of cinema, so the young man decided to prove to her that films can have a place in the life of someone deeply devoted to literature. After their lessons, Sava starts to feel that his tutor is unlike any other teachers or tutors he has met. There's something special about her elegance and a certain mystery. He can't stop thinking about her, and even lies to his friend, saying that his parents haven't left yet, just to avoid throwing parties at home and instead focus on studying literature. Meanwhile, Anna finally sits down to watch the movie Sava gave her. To her surprise, she realizes that the young man has actually chosen a rather decent film. At the next lesson, Sava catches the woman off guard. Her faucet has broken, and the entire kitchen is flooded with water. The young man immediately fixes the issue, and afterward, as they sit in the living room discussing another topic, Anna brings up the fact that perhaps Sava doesn't need such deep knowledge for his admission. However, Sava insists that he is truly interested in their lessons, to which the woman responds with a hint of sadness, admitting that the lessons have become special to her as well. The next day, Anna goes to visit her sister to celebrate her nephew's birthday. Among the guests is Tutor, whom they invited to introduce him to the lonely woman. Realizing that her sister is once again trying to play matchmaker, Anna makes it clear that she doesn't need help and is perfectly content with the life she's currently living. Marina is hurt, feeling that her sister is openly saying she isn't interested in their efforts. After calling a taxi, Anna heads home. For the next lesson, Sava arrives with a bouquet of lilies. He noticed that his tutor keeps flowers in a vase, trimming them carefully but never throwing them out. He decided to refresh the arrangement. When he enters the room, he approaches her closely and gently kisses her on the lips. But Anna rejects him. Understanding that a special connection has formed between them, she decides to end their lessons. The next day, when Sava arrives at her place, she acts as if nothing has happened. Coldly, she informs him that she has found a worthy replacement to help him prepare for his exams. But Sava doesn't listen to her. He simply begins to undress in silence. Unable to control herself, Anna allows the young man to seduce her. Their lesson ends, but as you can imagine, not in the usual way. From that day on, their lessons take on a new dimension. The couple indulges in physical pleasures while continuing their literary studies and enjoying their time together. Meanwhile, Anna's new neighbor arrives. Dmitri accidentally meets the woman in the elevator, trying to invite himself to her place, but she coldly rejects him. Sava, on the other hand, is hosting the promised party for his classmates. Alcohol and the noisy crowd confuse him, and the next morning, he wakes up in bed with Mariana. Feeling guilty, he goes to his tutor to honestly tell her what happened. He is quite surprised at how calmly she reacts to his confession. She assures him that only a true man can tell the truth. After calming the young man down and seeing him off, she checks his social media page, studying pictures of Mariana. Anna realizes that nothing can come of this, and more importantly, their bond is strong. She lets out a quiet sigh as she gazes at the screen of her laptop. The next day, Mariana visits Sava again. It's clear she likes him, and she tries to show it in every way. However, Sava remains indifferent to all her attempts. In the evening, he goes to his next lesson, but Anna suggests that instead of a lesson, they have dinner together. After drinking wine, Sava invites her for a walk, where he shyly takes her hand in front of passers-by. Returning home, the couple finishes the evening, but as you can imagine, not in the usual way. As Sava leaves the building, he bumps into Mariana. She claims she was just seeing off her sister, who by sheer coincidence also lives in the same building. Anna, watching them from the window, assumes that the young man is dating his classmate while also having a fling with her. The next day, the woman accidentally runs into Sava with his group of classmates. Mariana is also there. Not knowing how to react, the young man pretends he didn't notice Anna. Unable to understand why she's so affected by their relationship, the woman tiredly heads home. In the elevator, she meets Dmitri, who once again attempts to pursue her. To numb her emotional pain, she invites him to her place, where he leads her to the same place as Sava. When the man leaves the apartment, he accidentally bumps into Sava at the door. A loud argument ensues between the young man and the tutor, followed by broken dishes. But within minutes, they end up back in the same place. The next morning, the young man feels out of sorts, so he rushes home. He can't understand where their relationship is heading and what he really feels. The next day, Sava's parents return from their trip. They notice that their son has become withdrawn and doesn't want to interact with them. By evening, the young man rushes to Anna's apartment. When he enters, he sees that everything is broken and scattered around. The woman herself is sitting on the bed with a hollow look in her eyes. She looks at Sava and tells him that she is no longer teaching him. Realizing that this is the end, the young man leaves. But this is not the end. 6 months later, Sava successfully gets into university, where he gets a new girlfriend. After classes, he walks her to the bus stop and notices Anna on the other side of the street. The young man rushes after her. After walking several blocks, he calls out to her. Hearing the painfully familiar voice, she turns and silently looks at him. Neither of them could ever figure out whether it was love or just passion that swept them both away. Your Tutor is a film that definitely stirs up a lot of emotions and leaves a lasting impression. To me, it's not just about the relationship between a student and a teacher, but also about the journey of self-discovery, desires, and boundaries. Sava, in a way, faces something much more complicated than just preparing for exams. He dives into a world where emotions, passion, and morality mix, and that becomes a real challenge for him. What stands out to me in this movie is how it brings up uncomfortable questions. It really makes you think about what true relationships, boundaries, and responsibility mean. There are no clear winners or losers. Every character acts based on their own circumstances, which makes the story even more fascinating to analyze. It's hard to ignore how emotions and feelings can cloud judgment in the film. Sava and Anna are two people who, on the surface, seem to understand each other perfectly, but their connection is filled with doubt, mistakes, and disappointments. And it's this uncertainty, the lack of full honesty with themselves, and sometimes even manipulation, that makes the story more complex. For me, this film isn't just about forbidden love. It's a deeper reflection on how personal experiences can shape our worldview, behavior, and how we form relationships. I feel like it leaves the viewer with a lingering tension, even when it seems like everything has come to an end. And to me, that's the real power of the film. That's it, friends. If you liked the video, give it a like and subscribe to the channel. If you don't want to miss our next videos, I recommend hitting the notification bell. Goodbye, everyone.